when you've been losing with these big gold leads like over and over again, you really don't want to be the guy who like loses you another game with a big gold lead. So everyone's kind of just like really tense on stage when that kind of stuff happens. So it definitely kind of like feeds into itself a bit.
Hey guys, Parks Owsley here with the Shotcaller, joined by Licorice, the top laner for Cloud9. Congratulations, you got your second win of the season. I know it's been a pretty rough start for you guys. You've had a lot of roster swaps, you've gone through a lot of changes. You, however, have been pretty solid, actually. So first, I just want to talk about you. How are you doing? And then we'll talk about some team stuff later. So how are you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. I mean, obviously, I'd like to be at first, but personally, I think I'm doing pretty well, so.
And how are you doing, like, just confidence-wise in your own play and, you know, your matchups against top laners, your personal understanding of the game?
I think I've been learning a lot about the game, like this split in particular, and like in the off season leading up to it, obviously, because I'm not just gonna like walk in week one, like start learning really fast. But it's been feeling pretty good for me personally, and also Reaper gives me a lot of like say and input on what I want to play, so I'm always playing stuff that I'm comfortable on. So I feel pretty good.
So you've had some ability to kind of like decide some of your own like play styles or champions specifically?
Yeah, just like, I mean, he'll just ask me what I think is good, and obviously I'll like look at what everyone else is playing, and then I'll just try to figure out my own take on it. Like maybe if I find like a counter pick to a meta pick, then I can like play that, or if I just think something could be good, then I can play that. So he never forces me to play anything I don't want to play, so I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like good coaching to me. So Licorice, since there have been like some of the academy players stepping up this season, has that taken pressure off of you? Because, you know, you were the rookie last season and you were kind of like the one new guy. And so I would see fans sometimes say, oh, well, Cloud9 would be really good, but they lost this game. It must be the new guy's fault. But now it's like you're not even the new guy anymore. I mean, you know, Golden Glue's been around and these guys have been around. But they came up, and so did that take pressure off of you, or did it actually add pressure?
I'd say it probably added pressure. I mean, I definitely like really like before you don't want to slack off in practice. You want to take everything very seriously. Like obviously it's your job, blah, 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 blah. But like now it's like, oh, I better not slack off because people are getting benched. I don't want to be next. Like I like playing LCS, so. It's probably a bit more pressure for like practice specifically. I think on stage, like it's always just gonna be the same. Like I just really want to win kind of mentality. So I'm just kind of sticking with that.
So overall, more pressure though because of the fact that you realize everyone is replaceable.
Yeah.
Okay. So Licorice, you have actually. So I mentioned earlier, you've been very strong. Mm-hmm. You had a game, I think on Fiora, where you were like 7-1 or something, and then you still ended up losing the game. Yeah. How much do you think is that, you know, either not being the team's focus playing around top, or just, you know, it's chaotic? How much of it is like you don't know personally, like how should I close out the game, or how do I need to lead? When you guys have gotten into those situations earlier this season, like where is it that the play has fallen flat?
I mean, specifically with the Fiora game, that one's still kind of fresh in my mind. That one sucked. We were kind of, or like personally in the top lane matchup, I got like a pretty good early lead just against Someday, and then I was just taking it super slow because I knew that like as the game went on, I'd beat him like harder and harder, like even if we just like kept the same like gold gap between us. And like as I got more items, I just beat him more. So I was like taking it super slow, making sure that like anytime I tried to fight him, I knew where everyone was. And then we kind of ended up flubbing a couple engages on the other side of the map and lost the Baron. And then I think we just kind of lost the game off that because I couldn't split anymore. But I think it's just kind of like team like cohesion and like almost like confidence too, because like when you've been losing with these big gold leads like over and over again, you really don't want to be the guy who like loses you another game with a big gold lead. So everyone's kind of just like really tense on stage when that kind of stuff happens. So it definitely kind of like feeds into itself a bit.
Do you feel like this game is going to provide the confidence that you need to really keep going? Is it going to add a lot of momentum, or do you think that's still going to be something sitting in your mind?
I don't think it's as much of a problem anymore. Like we've been focusing like specifically on just making sure that everyone knows like exactly what they should be doing in the late game and like what their role is on the team and like what their champion should be doing. So as long as you know what you want to do, then it's pretty easy. It's just if you're trying to figure it out in game a little bit and you're like kind of uncertain and then you're not sure about like when you should go in as well, it kind of just all adds up.
So do you think, speaking of experimenting, do you think that this kind of whole 2-5 situation that you guys are in, let's say you can bounce back and make it to playoffs and, you know, secure either a first place in playoffs, which is an auto qualifier to Worlds, or secure enough points to make it to the gauntlet. Do you think that this is like actually optimal because now you know like here's some things that we're really bad at and this is what we've learned? Or do you think this is overall just an unfortunate situation and it would have been great to start 7-0 and that's that?
I mean, obviously it would be great to start 7-0. I'd love to be 7-0 right now, but if you look at last split, actually, we had like a super strong start. We were like winning every game, and then like at some point it like turned and we started losing, and it like didn't really, because like when we were winning, we weren't really focusing on our mistakes and like fixing them because we were just winning anyways. So we kind of just like kept like casually going along, like winning more games until like we weren't winning anymore. So I don't think it's a good thing that we're in this spot right now, where like even like playoffs is kind of looking uncertain. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing either, because like it forced us to like fix all of our problems from the start, and now like we've been like working better together as a team than last split, I think.
Okay, and you did obviously make a lot of changes. We are still not at the starting roster we all expected, because we do have Zazel for you guys starting today. Do you think that the team will continue throughout the split to keep making changes, make roster swaps, you know, maybe depending on the team that you're playing against, or, you know, how each person looked in scrims? Or do you think eventually, you know, you'll get to a point where you have kind of your LCS 5 and your Academy 5 and it's more set?
I mean, I think definitely like the closer you get to playoffs and like in playoffs itself, you're going to kind of have like more of a set 5. But I think it's still fairly up in the air right now. So honestly, I'm not sure. We'll see in the next coming weeks.
Okay, so probably a couple more changes, even if it ends up just being these, you know, experimenting. And Sneaky mentioned on stage that he was still scrimming with you guys. Has it been largely everyone hopping in and out, just making sure that synergy stays up to speed, or has it been mostly the people who are starting for the LCS with, you know, just Sneaky joining in or just one person? How is that looking for you?
What do you mean? Like how is it working? Like how did it work, or how did it happen? Or yeah, how did it happen? So in practice, basically just like if you feel like you're ready, kind of like, hey coach, I'm ready, I want to play LCS. And then if they're like, yeah, that sounds good, then you'll start splitting scrim time with like who the LCS starter is at that point. So like maybe they'll do the morning block and you get the afternoon one or something like that. And then they'll kind of come to a decision after a couple of days of that, be like, oh, I think this player should start. And then that'll be the roster for that week.
Okay, so it is somewhat fluid, and it comes from both players and coaches kind of working together to make a decision.
I mean, I think it definitely comes more from coaches, because I think every player is going to be like, yeah, put me in, like, let me get in there kind of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely like, but they do ask players for some input as well. So,
and okay, so we'll move on from that. Thank you so much, though. So I'm curious, as someone who, when I talked to you last season, you said that you were practicing a lot of other picks. You had, you know, played some in scrims and you got your one chance and you know, failed it. I'm curious now, has that reset? And also, as someone who, you told me you were practicing Riven back in the day, now we have Riven 2.0 in the Aatrox. So will we see Licorice like Aatrox or something? Are you working on these new champs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Aatrox is just broken right now. I think it was banned every game today. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, someone would have picked it because that champion is not balanced for sure. But I mean, whenever something new comes out, I'm always trying it, and it has reset for this split, and I've already lost at least one champion that I can think of. So,
well, that feels bad. Maybe you'll get another chance. That'd be fun.
yeah.
So, Licorice, I'm curious what your team's thoughts were actually watching Rift Rivals and the Aatrox, who got banned all the times today and didn't get banned a lot then, and ended up actually taking us out multiple times. I don't think we ever won against Aatrox actually when EU pulled it out. So what was it like as someone who obviously had no say in whether or not North America was better? What was that?
I mean, we were watching Rift Rivals. We were also we were scrimming like the week leading up to it, just for practice, obviously, because I think we needed the practice at that point. And like, I think it took like 1 day of scrims, and I was like, all right, this champion is not balanced. Like for sure, like just pick Aatrox, it's a free win. And then we were like kept scrimming that week, kind of like banded a little bit, maybe tried like a couple more matchups, and then watching Rift Rivals, it seemed like the NA teams like didn't know about Aatrox or something, and I was just watching. I was just like, it was just really doomed. So
you saw that Aatrox was overpowered before the hotfix buff, even?
Yeah, no. I mean, if I'm gonna point at anything in Aatrox's kit, it's his E gives him 20% spell vamp and lifesteal from level 2 when you take it. So you can't beat that. Just not like you just don't beat it. So yeah.
Interesting. So that makes it even more odd that we didn't even see it banned, because I thought it was just like, okay, well, they didn't expect the buff to be that big, but if it was already being picked out as OP, that's pretty sad. All right. Any other thoughts about the Rift Rivals performance? And obviously, Europe did look a lot better than we did in the tournament. What do you think about the two regions outside of that?
I mean, I didn't watch it too closely. I'd watch like some games here and there because like we were still scrimming at the time too. So it just seemed like the EU teams like knew the meta a lot better than the NA teams, and they were like more willing to play the new picks. So that definitely helped them a lot.
Well, hopefully we will adapt. We did see a lot of Heimerdinger today, and we saw the Aatrox ban, so I guess we are slowly learning.
Yeah.
And then what did you guys do did you change your schedule at all, or any sort of structure in the 2 weeks since you had a longer amount of time? Were you more willing to like experiment with some things, or was it mostly just same type of practice every day?
It was pretty much just the same practice. I mean, there's a new champion, so everyone wants to try it in scrims. And then we did get to scrim against the EU teams that were here, so that was nice as well. But just kind of the same old practice apart from that.
Awesome. Well, that's a lot of fun. I didn't realize more teams got to kind of meet up with them and scrim.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got practice as well. International practice. Yeah. It's always nice.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you so much. That does it for us. Before we go, we will do the customary rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
So rock, paper, scissors. Dang it. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. And we will see you guys next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. To see more fabulous hair, oh gosh, yeah, please like and subscribe, comment as well. We'd love to have you. And watch some of these videos over here. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye.
It's Licorice.